if you look back, right, not only did the Republicans give up around the 1960s on getting the black vote, but they have actively sought to oppress the black vote.
Okay, so
you look at most of these the voting issues. You look at voter suppression, right? And it's Republicans behind this. Now, you said if I was right, you'd admit it.
No, I'm just asking you to explain it further because I
voter
want people that are
so
hearing
their laws
you
like
to hear.
their laws like you have to do 3 black flips, 2 somersaults, and a moonwalk.
You mean have an ID?
Yeah, an ID
So do you think
or
black
other
people?
forms.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think black people are
of,
too stupid to get a driver's license?
Why would you call black people?
Because
sister,
to me, I'm offended that people call that.
Black.
No, I'm asking you something.
Black.
I'm asking you something. I'm offended when people say to me that oppresses us. I'm like, I don't know a single black person that doesn't have ID. You can't drive. You can't buy a pack of cigarettes. You can't buy alcohol. Don't think we're so stupid that we can't figure out how to get ID. It's insulting to call that voter suppression.
Okay.
It's insulting.
What about the closing and?
Do you know a single black person that doesn't have ID?
Yeah, I do. I actually do.
Really?
What about because in
I don't know
when
a single black
you
person that have
go
ID.
to get ID, you need 3 other.
How are they living without
other,
ID? You can't go to school.
You need 3, 4 other. You can go to school. You get a school ID.
Okay,
right, but they won't take that at the polls.
So you're saying
they won't
black
take
people
that at the polls.
at 18 years old
Yes.
that cannot figure out how to get an ID.
No, it's not.
That's insulting.
See, the
that's
thing
insulting
is,
to our
no.
community.
What you don't understand is you need social security numbers. You need bank statement. You might need something mailed to your house. Bills. Like these kids aren't receiving bills. You need certain forms of information.
Social security number. Yeah.
Several different pieces of information that a lot of people just don't have. And
if
okay,
black people
you're
can't
harping.
figure out how
You're
to
harping.
get ID,
You're
we have
harping.
a way bigger problem. We're not that stupid. I will not
take-
accept that we're too stupid to get ID. I don't know a single. I got
take
cousins
that
that live in the
off the
projects.
table.
Everybody has ID. You can't work without ID. You can't work without ID.
I get it. Yes, you
can't
can.
work.
Yes,
you
but
can't
you
work
can.
unless
Yes,
you're working under the
yes.
table. You got to have some form of
Yes.
ID when they run your social security number and all that stuff. You have to give them something to work with.
No, actually, you don't. You just go in there. You give them a social. You don't have to have your physical.
Yes, you do.
Social
They have to make a
security
copy of it.
card.
They have to make a
No,
copy
they
of it.
don't.
Not your social security card,
What
of your
world
ID.
Do you live in? Do you live amongst
So
these
you're telling me
people
if you just
that you
write-
represent? I'm from the South Bronx. I'm from
Do you think I- do you
Harlem.
think I
I'm
was-
from New
do you
York
think I was-
City.
I'm rich?
Where do
You
you
think I
live?
was raised
Who
rich?
do you live
This
amongst?
is what's so
I'm
crazy.
asking
It's
you.
like the second-
I'm asking you. Who do you live amongst? I live in
I
one of
live
the
in
most
Philly.
oppressed.
I live in Philly,
districts.
one of the poorest-
Okay,
one of the poorest
and
cities in
you don't
America.
know these problems. Then you don't know your people.
See, no,
Did you
no,
socialize
you're
with people in your community?
you're
Did you
actually-
socialize with
you're
people in your
under-
community?
yes.
Okay, because
My
I
whole
know
family
these
lives in
problems.
the
I know
projects.
people who work without
undermining-
IDs.
you're
No, I'm
undermining
not.
our
I'm telling the
community.
truth. Okay, so explain to me this.
The only
right?
trouble people that have the
Explain
IDs
to
is
me
when they
this.
leave
Explain to
prison.
me this. Why we were down in Florida filing lawsuits because Republican districts were turning people away. Okay, they were removing people from voter lists. These what's his name? Kemp. I helped Stacey Abrams. I went down there and helped her campaign. He was aggressively attacking black voters. Okay, pulling people off buses. And Donald Trump supported him. Donald Trump supported
What
this
do you
woman.
mean pulling people off of buses?
There was a group of people going to do their early voting thing or whatever they were doing, and the police stopped the bus, told them that they couldn't do this. These things happen.
So they just said. So I just want to get the story straight.
Pass me my phone.
So let's
pull it up. We can look at it together.
So they stopped the bus and the police said you're not allowed to vote because you're black.
No,
That just doesn't
basically
seem like a very likely story to me.
the reason was that the bus was from a nonprofit. Right.
Might have been because the bus wasn't from Georgia or something. Because there's a lot of people that are
No,
there's
see,
a lot of voter
but
fraud.
see, you talking about fraud. You're being fraudulent.
look, I'm not.
You
I
said
said
if
look it
I
up.
give you a good reason,
I'm not stopping
right?
you from looking
You
it
said
up.
if I give you a good reason,
well,
you'd admit
undermining
to
us
it.
and saying we're too dumb to get IDs.
No,
is
it's
a
not
good
about
reason. I
being
don't like
dumb,
that.
and some people just don't have IDs. Some people can't put the information together to get IDs. That it just happens sometimes.
This is when I say
There's
that
other ways
we've
to
accepted
verify
the
that.
status of like we're too like this is what
But
I
that's
hate
not
because
the
this
biggest reason.
brainwashes when I see black people being like we can't get voter ID laws because that means that we're gonna have to get our ID.
No,
you gotta
but
get
see,
your
that's
ID
not
to
the
live
biggest
life,
reason.
black people.
That's
Get up off your
that's
ass.
not the
You
big-
have to get an ID to live life. Okay, so that
Get
to
up
me is
off your ass.
undermining.
You
Yeah.
talk like
That's undermining. That's insulting.
See, this is why people call you name. You speak sometimes, and I'm saying this from a very earnest place. You talk like a person who hates black people.
No, I'm talking like if I was your mother, you need to get up off your ass and get an ID.
Listen.
We need that. We need a little more people telling us to get up off our asses and do stuff. We need to stop being handed excuses and start being told, you know how to do this. Figure out what you need to do. You are a American. It's not hard. You got Google now. How can I get my ID? Okay, I didn't have the most supportive system when I was growing up.
Let's just say
I had to figure out everything to do by myself. I didn't have parents that could help me do anything.
Registration in Wisconsin. Not only did they need their school ID, they needed a state ID that was current in the school. They needed a letter from the registrar's office. They needed all of these things to get registered to vote, or else their applications would decline.
Wait.
Like there's been okay.
You can vote. You can register to vote online with no ID. That's why people are fighting voter ID laws.
You can't in Wisconsin. That's an
absolute
falsehood.
Okay,
that's an absolute falsehood. Yeah, like
okay,
come on,
I did it.
Like we got to be real. There have been case after case, right, where voter suppression happened, and you know this.
No.
And it was the Republicans that was behind it.
No, what I'm saying to you is that telling people that they need ID to vote to me is not voter suppression.
Listen, you know what? People should have IDs. I'm not going to sit here and advocate.
To a point where it's like, stop telling black people but you shouldn't have to have ID and it's like that to me is like, this is why we're not doing well in society. I couldn't even imagine a Jewish people being like, the fact that we've been asked to have ID is insulting, and we're like, they would be like, no, any Jewish person, and this is what I talk about with parenting, because you say it's insulting when I parent the black community. The black community needs some parents right now, okay? You need to figure out how to get an ID to be successful in life, to get a job, to do anything that you want in life, to fly in a plane, okay, to leave your city, to do anything, you need an ID. So we don't need people telling our community that it's insulting and we're being oppressed because we're being asked to be functional human beings in society.
See, but you're talking about voter IDs. Cool. Let's talk about malfunctioning machines, right?
That happens all over.
Let's talk about malfunction, usually when it's blacks trying to vote in Republican districts, right? Let's talk about people's names. Let's talk about people's names being taken off. Yeah, we should.
Where's the bus?
Let's talk about it's here. Let's talk about people's names being taken off voter rolls. Let's talk about close to the election, how I was down in Pennsylvania. Like, I don't know what you do, but I'm really on the streets. I wear a suit 5 times a year. I'm really in Wisconsin registering kids to vote, bipartisan completely. Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania doing the same thing, right? And these websites don't work. Now I'm gonna blow your mind, right? Democrats do it too, but it's in greater numbers with Republicans. Democrats suppress votes in the Bronx, where I'm from. And I call them out on it. Like, this is a sick.
But why would Democrats suppress black votes when they're the ones that get it?
What if we're in a black district and you have the party that maintains the status quo, right? That wants to maintain their status quo. What's the status quo? You look at the most you look at the most messed up black communities in the country, and they're led by Democrats, right?
100%.
So you have these people who get government money. They give money to nonprofits, and it's this perpetual cycle of nothingness.
Of course, because
right?
they want to keep them on the problems.
That's why our kids are running around killing each other. That's why drugs and crime is running rampant, because the people that they trust, who look like them, are actually part of this system, which is oppressing them.
Maxine Waters living outside of your district in a $6 million home. I mean, we could all of these people that pretend to be black leaders. They come at my throat. I'm not the one getting rich off of black people. Okay, like that's just the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I'm trying to wake you up to the fact that you are voting for a party that hasn't served you. Now, let's say I'm wrong and voter suppression is happening. It's at the hands of the Republicans, and I promise you that if nothing else, I am a person that researches. Okay, and I read and I research, and I will research it. You cannot objectively say that you think that Republicans have done more harms to black than Democrats. Can you?
This is the problem, my sister.
But I want to know. I just want to know. Because I get demonized for going after the left.
This is the problem. You see Republicans.
No, I'm just asking you.
I'm
staying on topic.
You see Republicans and Democrats.
You asked me a question.
I see America oppressing.
No, but you cannot
ask me. You cannot ask me what's the most effective way to kill a person, an explosion or a bullet to the brain. Either way, that person's still dead. Either way, we're still oppressed.
No, but why I'm saying I'm saying this is because you
okay,
I want to have
so
this honest,
open
talk dialogue with you and to allow you to present the things that Republicans have done to black people.
At the very least, Democrats have done more to help than Republicans. At the very least, even though I don't know what the percentage is of these programs that work, that aren't working, that actually work, they are fighting for our children. They are trying to help in some small, minute ways. They are trying to unite children with their families at the border now. Right? Even though I know Barack Obama separated more people than anyone else, they're doing it now. Republicans don't even help when it's the right thing to do.
I gotta pause you right there.
They don't even help when it's the right thing to do.
I gotta pause you right there. First off, we're talking about the black community. I don't want to talk about illegal immigrants because until the black community is fixed, I do not care on the record about a single illegal immigrant. You want me to care about a child separated from its mother at the border because their mother was doing something illegal and got caught? Does anybody cry when black parents get locked up and they have to be separated from their children for years? Okay, so stop. You can miss me entirely with the illegal immigrant argument.
I do.
Especially because illegal immigration negatively impacts who, first and foremost? Black men between the ages of 18 and 21.